Morning. My name is Darren Ray Fonso, and I'd like to talk to you about workers' compensation or labor and industries here in Washington State and across America today. Today's topic is going to be the Bernicrat coalition and Bernicrat candidates. Now, the Bernicrat coalition itself, I want to say up front, has been very kind to me as an injured worker, one of the angry ones and more outspoken ones, at allowing me to have my side and my opinion and my voice heard in regards to the war on injured workers and how we need minimum federal standards that need to get addressed. And they've been, some of them been even supportive of it. So I want to say kudos to them for free speech and allowing me to speak and be heard, at least, because so the Democrat Party themselves are kicking people out of their Facebook pages who are dissenters to what the party, the direction the party may be going in. Now Bernicrats are a lot better, and they allow us to be heard, and that is great, and that needs to be done. Anyways, the issue, though, for me today, I was trying to go into is that the Bernicrat coalition itself, though, needs to start demanding and holding to the feet the fire of these candidates, to the political fires, these candidates that you are endorsing. I will reiterate this. Do not endorse if they know not support and speak out and put in their issues page that they will stand up and fight for the minimum federal standards that Senator Sanders says we need, as well as, of course, Patty Murray, which is Bernicrats and Clintonites, both saying we need these minimum federal standards, yet our lawmakers aren't speaking and talking about it, so it's never going to happen. And that's why we need our progressive leaders, because they're the ones that kick the ass in the butts of the others to get them moving in the right direction, whether you win or not. Well, you've got the soapbox. You need to put forth the issues that we need addressed, and if you're not, they are not getting addressed. I'm sorry. If you're not putting forth the issue of a war being waged on people, where we've got 80% where we're harming 20% of the people, so that we can help 80% of them, so that we can stop the 1 to 2% that are cheaters. So we got to harm 20% of those people, so we can stop the 1% that are cheating, so we can help the 80%. Fuck you. I'm not going with that Democrat attitude no more. We don't have to harm a few to help the majority. That does not need to happen no more, and it should not be happening to start because it was never supposed to happen. But anyways, this is tying into, I want to go into how we need our progressive leaders to be speaking up, and how are they any different from here in Washington State? How are they any different than State Representative Marco Elias, who worked against injured workers and stacked the decks against us and won't listen to us and won't help us and locks us out of his pages? How are progressive candidates any different than they are, and Bernicrats candidates any different if they aren't speaking up and telling us the truth about the war on injured workers? It's not going to get addressed if you're not talking about it, folks. And the reason I bring this up, because it's really frustrating me at this point, because I keep seeing this party, or the Bernicrat coalition, putting out our darling, which is our progressive darling at this moment. Our Bernicrat darling is Amy Valilia, a leader that I have begged for help for over almost a year now, and who I reached out to, and she told me, yes, I support Bernie 100%. I support that federal oversight 100%. And that was back in December. And in January, she said, up in January, Darren, we're going to have a discussion. We're going to talk about it and see what I'm going to have on my issues, and we'll see if we're going to put this on your table or not. Well, January came and went, and she did not put this issue on her table. I go to her issues page now. I go to where, right under her issues, she says disabilities. Under disabilities, there's no speaking or no saying how she's going to support Senator Sanders and his call for federal oversight and the standards that we need to stop the harm done to injured and disabled workers. Would have been a good spot for it. Or you can go down to where she talks about labor, and that would have been a perfect spot for her to say something. Or down in healthcare. Anywhere in any one of those three spots, she could have talked about the war on injured workers, but she's choosing not to. And I'm sorry, Amy Valilia, you are doing to the injured workers of America exactly what was done to you by that corporate Democrat who did not want to hear you and wanted to close you out. You have closed me out, Amy Valilia, out of your web pages. How are you any better than the corporate Democrats I have been fighting in Washington State here and across America, who are siding with the ALEC corporate whores to steal from injured workers? And Amy Valilia, it really should be important to you, because in your own state you had, and in your own backyard, Vegas, an injured worker stood up and shot point blank a fucking work comp adjuster in the chest. And the guy was like almost, was an injured worker who'd been battling for 10 years. He was like 67 years old. So since he was 57, he had been fighting your work comp system in your state, but they had been failing him for 10 years. Now this needs to stop. And I'm sorry, Amy Vivilia, when you have men in your own town standing up and shooting others over the injustice of workers' comp, yet you won't address the issue when it needs a federal fix and not a state fix. And Bernie Sanders has said that, and you have said you agree with that, but yet you won't make that one of your issues on your podium as you speak up and stand out and speak to America and tell us what we need and what issues we need addressed so that we can stop the harm and the war and the homelessness, lady. Because I have injured workers being homeless. I have injured workers committing suicides, firemen, cops, nurses, committing suicides over the injustice. Other ones committing homicide. Yet you do not want to address this issue or make it an issue as you go across America and talk about what is harming us and what we need to do to fix it. Even though you say, oh, on the back burner, oh, I support Bernie on that issue. No, if you supported Bernie and if you supported the injured workers of America, you would speak up, Amy Vivilia. Now, I love you and I'm sorry for what happened to you. That is horrible and tragic. But that doesn't mean you don't stand up and speak up for the injured worker of America as well, because we don't just need single payer. We need some federal minimum standards and minimum federal standards over state work comp systems, just like we need single payer, and we need both. And to sell us one without the other is not to help us. Not to mention some federal minimum standards over state med tort laws as well, so that if they should harm us with that single payer care, we can hold them to account so it's not used to cost shift us off, Miss CFO. Financial officer that you were, you could probably comprehend that. Now, I'm sorry. I need to call you out, just like you told me to call out all my Democratic lawmakers. Well, I'm calling you out, Amy Vilia. Where you're at? Where's your voice? As you have this podium. You're no different than Sawant, who's supposed to be there for labor. Or who else we got? We got a few others. You know, another brother we need to talk about here is Randy Butts. You motherfucker. This is bullshit. You got a voice, dude. You're going up against them in Wisconsin. Ryan stepped out, brother. You got the podium now. Speak up and talk about the need for federal oversight for injured workers, or you are not there for any more for injured workers or the laborers in America than Paul Ryan was. Speak up, Randy Bryce. Where are you? And there's another lawyer, I think in Kansas. He claims to be a labor lawyer. I can't remember his name. Somebody ran out of Kansas City or something. He, too, is claiming to be a Democrat and a progressive and a Bernicrat, yet he will not speak up about the minimum federal standards that Senator Sanders says we need, and Patty Murray. I'm sorry, Bernicrats, you need to be called out. This needs to be addressed, and if we are not demanding these people running for federal office stand up and speak for the minimum federal standards, it ain't even the ones running for state office. Now, Amy Vilia and a few of the others will say, well, if I talk about that, I won't get voted in because I won't get the business vote. I'm sorry, fuck that business vote. That's the problem. And I'm sorry, you're wrong on that issue, because we had a man running for a state office as a progressive, or it was a Democratic Socialist he ran in, and his name was Campbell, and he ran in Virginia, and he won. And he won running on work comp and how it was broken. He won, but what he needed to win was a federal seat. I'm sorry, brother, Mr. Campbell. You should have won a federal seat, because what we need is a federal fix, and you're not going to be able to get that done from the state level. But what you can do, sir, at the state level, as an oppressed injured worker in your state seat, is stand up and tell us we need those federal minimum standards, because that is what we need our state lawmakers to also tell us, as well as the ones running for federal office, is that we need our state lawmakers policed by the minimum federal standards, just like they're policed by a minimum federal wage. And if you can fight for $15 a minimum an hour, Amy Vigilia, and you can fight for workers on the front end, why can't you fight for the workers on the back end that are over 35 and being injured on the job and then being purged to our streets? It's a backdoor a war on aging injured workers, an austerity war. That is pushing and kicking us to the street. And they don't care if you're a Democrat or if you're a Republican or what color you are, if you're gay or what you are. They will stick it to you. And there's a chance, there's like a 20% chance that you will not get the justice that you should be getting, because we are, like I said here at the beginning, we are choosing to harm 20% to catch that 100% that is cheating, so that we can help the other 80. And that dynamics is no longer going to work. And this has all gone on since Alec implemented these laws since 2000, especially since 2010, when state by state and boilerplated our laws took our rights away. And I'm sorry, Amy Vahilia and Randy Bryce, if you are not standing up and speaking up for the minimum federal standards that injured workers need across this country, then you are not for us. If you are not demanding some minimum federal standards over state med tort laws that allow these med boards to allow doctors to be used as tools to police and cost contain a war against us, and we can't hold them to account, then that needs to be addressed, because just having free health care doesn't address the issue. We also need accountability in that health care with being able to hold these people to account, and state med tort laws stand in our ways from being able to do that. So we need some minimum federal standards in state work comp laws, minimum federal standards over state med tort laws, so that we can police these doctors. Doctors don't need to be policing themselves. Cops don't need to be policing themselves. This shit needs to stop. And Amy Vahilia and these progressive Bernicrats out there, where are your voices? Where are your mouths as there is a war being waged on your fellow Americans and injured workers across this country, and more so, patients' rights? Because I'm sorry, my wife was harmed in her care as well, Amy Vahilia, and she was almost killed, and I can't get justice for that either, because we have a state med board that we can't get through, and you know about this because you're going through this now with your daughter, and you're finding out that you can't get justice either, even though the harm that you had to you was horrific. They're probably going to put a cap of you or some kind on damages, and you're finding that out now, ma'am. And I'm sorry you're having to go through that, but this is the truth. But the injured workers have to go through that. Every one of us go through that as we go through this legal maze that is waged upon us. It's not good. It's just as bad as being harmed. And I'm sorry. You know, I had my father-in-law, besides me being harmed as an injured worker, my father harmed as an injured worker when I was a child. My father-in-law, my kids had to wake up, Amy, to his cold body, because he came home and was, after the night shift, after he was worked to death at Walmart by our state work comp system, a private Sedgwick insurer, and Walmart. Now, I'm sorry. The tragedies are all around us. We all have them. And yes, we speak up and we speak out. Well, I'm speaking up and speaking out to you, Amy, just the way you were speaking up and speaking out to that corporate Democrat about the issue you want to address. I'm speaking to you as injured workers of America, demanding and asking you for respect for us too, ma'am. Where is it when the tables are there for us? You blocked me out just like the other Democrats. I'm sorry if I'm angry and I don't sound nice. We need to still listen to the men in rage, whether they're Republicans or whether they're Democrats. Let's listen to them and start hearing them instead of waiting for them to fucking go postal like the man did in your backyard and shot the fucking adjuster. Now, I'm trying to stop that across America, but I can't get that done if the Amy Vahilias and the Randy Bryces across here, who are the progressives that are going to stand up and fight for us, won't stand up and tell us the goddamn truth about what is harming us. This needs to be fixed. It needs to be addressed. Now, I love you, Amy Vahilia, and you rock, you go out there and you win. But if you get in that seat and you have not spoken up or said a word about the war that is happening to 1 in 4 of us, because 1 in 4 of us has maybe end up with a disability by the time we're 60, before we're 65. Now, whether it's work-related, that might be a whole other question. That's where the war is at a lot. But nonetheless, this is affecting a lot of people. And not only does it not affect the 1 in 4 of us, how about the tragedies that stem out of it, like the tragedy that happened in your backyard where the adjuster shot the other one? We need to stop this. This is an injustice. We can't have one class waging war on the other class so that one group can profiteer off screwing over 20% so we can stop that 1% that everybody feared was taking from us. I would rather give that 1% and just fuck that and go ahead and take care of that 20%. That would be a lot cheaper and a lot more cost effective. That's what we got here is a class war where a group of elites, the industrial complex, it's the industrial, I forget what the word they use, the industrial cost containment complex. That's what it is. The insurance industrial cost containment complex has run amok, and they own our state lawmakers, and we need our federal lawmakers to step in with some minimum federal standards so we stop being bent over here, Amy Vahilia. My family has been brought through hell for 6 years. I'm destroyed. Now I'm on SSDI. Yeah, I've been cost shifted off. You want me to be cost shifted off to that, and you want me to cost shifted off to the ACA or single payer instead of my employers doing their responsibility as the part of the goddamn grand bargain, and the insurers as well, because it ain't just the employers, it's the insurers that are walking out the back door. The employers are being hurt and the employees are being hurt while these insurance companies walk out the back door with all the profits. And right now, as we speak, we've got directors of these state work comp systems, largest ones in the country, stepping out the back door, one in California and then one in Texas, because they know they have laid this war on us across the last 30 years. People are starting to figure it out. The gig is up, and they are stepping out the back door with the spoils of their little war that they have waged upon the injured workers and the patients' rights of America. Now, by God, Amy Villalia, tell us the whole truth, not just half of it, sister, because that's what's going to fix America. Single payer, yes, hoorah, but we also need some minimum federal standards over state med tort laws and work comp laws, because one's without the other is just to sell us half a Happy Meal, just like it was done with the ACA, and that helps none of us. And a Republican and a Democrat will both agree with you on that. So I'm sorry, Amy Villalia, Randy Bryce, and all you other so-called progressive voices out there. You're no different than the Laura Browns here in Washington State, who I have been begging, her campaign manager, talking with her, and she still not will speak up, but she runs against Kathy McRogers in our state for a U.S. office, and neither one of those two women will speak up either. How you were any different than either one of those Alec whores, Amy Villalia? I want to know. And you too, Randy Bryce, brother. Speak up, Mr. Hardhead, I'm a laborer. 15 years I worked construction, Randy Bryce. I was construction foreman, brother, before I did 15 years of the healthcare bedside. Then I got a little bit of legal college under my belt with a paralegal degree. Not a paralegal degree, I didn't make it all the way. But no, I got the fucking knowledge, which I think harmed me more than it helped me in life, because now I know people are fucking me and the others, and it's upsetting. I'll just stop it at that. There is no reason this progressive and Bernicrat movement cannot stand up and speak up. And if you are not forcing these people and not endorsing them, if they are not, then I'm sorry, Bernicrat coalition, you are not there for all of us. Please take time to address and heed the war being waged upon us, not only on injured workers, brothers and sisters. This is a war on all of us through patients' rights, because like I said, my wife was almost killed, and I cannot get justice for that doctor who harmed her. And I won't go into detail on the case, but he had intentionally withheld a blood test that needed to be done because he was trying to cost contain, and she almost bled out and died because he chose to cost contain rather than heal, because he was worried whether she was insured or not. And I can't hold him to account because we have these med boards that stand in the way that are supposed to be policing these doctors. I'm sorry, doctors do not police doctors, and cops do not police cops. That needs to stop, and until we get that shit addressed, we're not going to fix nothing in this nation. Let's get down to the root causes. Let's get down to the root issues. And Amy Villalia and Randy Bryce, I love both of you. You're standing up and you're doing something I can't do at this time. I've been felonized 3 times over standing up and fighting for fucking people's rights. And maybe I got a little aggressive with it. And my therapist I see 2 times a week over a mental health IOP counselor over this war that has been waged upon me, kind of tells me I probably do not have the the patience to be a politician, and I agree with him. And that's why I can't go down to your little meets, because I'm not going to sit next to some asshole selling me a piece of shit fucking lie or a half a Happy Meal and sit there and stomach that shit. I'm going to tell you face to face, and when I start doing that, then they kick people like me out. And when I've got a felony, I'm the one in the wrong, and I go to jail. So you will hear from this candidate from here. And this candidate ain't running for no public office. I am running to get the war stopped on patients in this country and the war on injured workers. That is what I am running on. And that's what I want fixed, because I don't want done to what was done to my family when I was a kid, that put me through 9 years of hell as my stepfather had to fight through this shit. He was a logger and a truck driver and a foreman, log camp foreman and log truck driver and long haul driver. The man worked hard all his life, and when he got hurt, he got put through hell before they finally SSDI'd him, cost shifted him off to the Social Security rolls. It was a 9-year battle after he fell off a silo and landed on his fucking feet, harming and breaking his neck. Anyways, 9 years my family had to go through hell back then. 16 different schools as we traveled around trying to survive because they had no fucking income, fighting a government system, both of which he had paid into. He was born in like 1927, maybe. But anyways, and I'm going to cut it off here. I've gone on way too fucking long. But this has harmed me as a child. It harmed me as an adult when I got hurt. Even though I was being honest and reporting my injuries, I thought I was doing the right thing, and they still harmed me. And then during my battle, my father-in-law gets hurt at his job, and they work him to fucking death. I'm sorry. My therapists are calling this shit generational, institutional, and social fucking betrayal. And now Amy Boyelia and Randy Bryce, I am begging of you, an injured worker from America, and one who has been beaten down from this for generations, and don't even get me into a broken immigration comp system, because that's a whole nother fucking issue, that we are hurting humans and profiting off hurting humans, and that needs to stop. But I won't go on that. That's a whole nother topic. Brothers and sisters, and progressive, and fellow Bernicrats, and those who are holding the Bernicrats to the fire and building this great movement that you guys got going, rock on, brothers and sisters. But if you're not calling them out on the state med tort and work comp laws, those are the root issues that are used to harm us in our health care and tools that keep us from getting to any of the other social benefits that we claimed are so good for America, and that us liberals and conservatives say are so great. We have got people hindering our access to that. Conservatives and corporate Democrats are hindering legally our access to those socialized programs. We got capitalists profiting off hindering our access to these socialized programs and state work comp and through state med tort laws, where if people don't realize it, and Amy Villa is starting to realize it, they can harm you, they can hurt you, and you can't get justice because a med board will protect the people who did the harm. That's not right. Thanks, and have a great day.